Hey everyone, welcome back to another Exos Heroes Hero Spotlight. Today we're going to cover one of the 3 new heroes introduced with Season 2, and that's going to be Dorka. A quick overview: Season 2 introduced the new region Brune along with its 3 representative heroes, with Dorka as General. As is tradition in Exo Heroes, the General has to be ridiculously strong, and Dorka is no exception. While her skills are respectable, her passives are what really set her above other heroes, and possibly even other generals. So Dorka is a faded hero, obviously being a general, they're all faded. She has the machine element, she's a chaos class, and has a physical attack type. Now if we go look at her skills, her basic attack deals between 498 to 599 physical damage. That's pretty standard. It's a little bit on the stronger side for chaos heroes, but nothing too special. Her A1, Black Iron Storm, costs 2 mana and deals 63% damage to all enemies, and comes with a Bleed that deals 39% damage every turn for 2 turns. Her A2, Piercing Darkness, costs 3 mana, is a single target ability that deals 367% piercing damage to 1 enemy. And she has 3 passives. The first being Focus Shot 3, which afflicts the target with Focus Fire Mark and decreases dodge and block for 1 round on basic attack. You'll gain 1 mana if the target dies while marked, and you gain 1 mana if the health of the target is at 70% or more. Then you have Grace of Mana, which is an overtime effect and permanently grants 1 mana for all allies, and Soul Bond, which grants allies with less attack than Dorka the Soul Bond Mark, and this will heal for 30% of missing health every turn and reduces magic damage taken by 30%. So now that we've gone over some of the details of her kit, let's talk about how it all comes together to make one of the best, if not the best hero in the game currently. We know what you're thinking. The best hero? That's kind of high praise, but honestly, Dorka is a queen and she deserves it. If we start with the small things and work our way up, the first thing that I personally like about Dorka's kit is the single target and AoE split between her abilities. I generally have a soft spot for heroes like this because it gives them so much more flexibility in different situations. An AoE only hero will be inefficient in common endgame PvE situations, especially versus solo bosses like Dragon or bosses in Upirs and Avarice. On the other hand, if you only have single target abilities, it makes the hero a lot less reliable on auto runs, and it can also put you at a disadvantage against multi-threat teams, which are common in PvP. By having both, Dorka's able to be effective across more types of content, and considering the dot on her low-cost AoE A1, she excels at breaking Guardian Stones too, which has become significantly more important for mana gen in the Season 2 update. While the scaling on her skills are not the most impressive, the dot and piercing provide some offensive utility that may make up for it. Dorka also has Focus Shot passive, which we think is quite nice for the dodge and block debuff on basic attack. The debuff lasts for an entire round, so it sets up your team to follow up with damage and potentially grant Dorka 1 mana on kill, or if she basic attacks someone above 70% HP. We also have Grace of Mana, which is really strong, but it kind of flew under the radar with how ridiculous Soul Bond is. Ever since players have used Breath or Flow of Mana, we've always been curious, wow, I wonder what it would be like for someone to grant 1 mana for everyone. Well, we don't have to wonder anymore, because Dorka does it, and as of now, she's the only hero that does. We don't have to get too much into detail about why this is good. With mana generation becoming standardized, it's a lot more predictable how and when heroes will gain mana, and thus having +1 for all allies throughout the fight makes planning out strategies a lot easier. Because there's no front row or back row restriction, it lets Dorka fit into different comps as well, since she's not losing any effectiveness from Grace. But what are we here for really? It's definitely not to discuss Focus Shot or Grace. We know that aside from the stunning visuals, the reason Dorka's so hot right now is because of Soul Bond. So let's get right into it. Soul Bond grants allies with less attack than self the Soul Bond Mark, and that heals for 30% missing health every turn and reduces magic damage taken by 30%. Being a faded chaos hero, and one of the generals on top of that, Dorka has pretty high attack. I believe at the time of recording this video it's the 9th highest attack of all faded heroes, and I believe only Bathory, Bernadette, and Maggie stand significantly above the other 6, so it's not that significant of a gap. And this means that with some faded or maybe the new Season 2 gear, you'll likely be able to mark everyone on your team with Soul Bond. And let's just take a second to think about how ridiculous that actually is. Minus 30% magic damage taken for everyone for the whole fight, and healing for 30% missing HP every turn. And Soul Bond, like the other marks, persists after death, so even if you kill Dorka, her whole team still has Soul Bond. Dorka's existence, or rather Soul Bond's existence, is just such a huge blanket nerf to all magic damage, we're really not sure what the devs were thinking here. There is a suspicion that Soul Bond was an attempt to try to push Bathory out of the meta, but as we've been seeing in high-level PvP, most comps just end up running both Bathory and Dorka, so obviously that hasn't worked. But to be honest, it's not even the magic damage reduction that bothers us most. The obscene amount of healing that Soul Bond provides is the real problem. If Dorka had to sacrifice something, anything, in order to have this crazy healing, it might be okay. Like, if she has to give up a turn, or she has to make herself more vulnerable. But the fact that it's passive, so she doesn't have to do anything, and it persists past death, is just really disgusting. Soul Bond makes Dorka a Chaos Hero, a better healer than every other dedicated healer in the game, with the sole exception of FC Lepin, who provides really strong utility along with the heals and res. Soul Bond just invalidates so many heroes and essentially erases their niche. Most magic damage is significantly weaker now. Maybe heavy hitters like Bernadette and Maggie, like we mentioned before, can stay. Dot heroes are not very useful since the damage ticks will just be healed through, and what's the point of bringing a healer that's not FC Lepin if you have Dorka? There really isn't any. Of course, for those of us without Dorka and for those of us who go out of our way to avoid her in PvP, we can ignore most of these problems, but that doesn't mean they aren't there. As long as Soul Bond exists in its current form, Dorka, much like Bathory, will never be balanced. As busted as Dorka is, that isn't to say that she doesn't have any weaknesses. Since Soul Bond only reduces magic damage, the tried and true combination that we've been seeing of FC Annie and FC Rira could still terrorize her. Time will tell with how the meta settles. For the rest of us, let's settle in for the long haul until we get her, because the way things are looking now, Dorka has joined Bathory as one of the Queens of Exos Heroes, and they're here to stay. That does it for us today. If you have any thoughts on or experience with Dorka, please let us know how that's gone for you in the comments. We'd love to hear more about her, as we don't have her on any of our accounts so far, so that's a feels bad, man. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. We have more Exo Heroes content on the way, so be on the lookout for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.